no, Tamasco and Yaran, Yaran Yaran, what they do, so came it Hollerupper shot Rabawad. Couple of Buganash, Boiler Moray, I guess, Bishard and used it, a couple of Marm Goakish of Hena, Neravi, Enda Sarkozy. Half a fasty that Hamilton and the Sculta be what you're all going to rehard because we should Bullock Clouton the Arigala Virgin Happy Slapping her. Well, to mask about Snurred Kieran the Enda agus Sarkozy and Hug Sarkozy Bullied Enda agus Hug Enda and some Slappal Dawson. So to mask about Happy Slappal and Biggle Ryans. Daniel, na agus having me the kind of in a link for Duda. Agus Eamonn Gilmore. Agus Tánaiste Eamonn a hen. Agus Tan Kilmagir at Bugmore to Manjanu. Hila Tashamasco Southwest in Iceland the Body More and in Europe. No, Tashaneho Takiart or Natira Lulig at a Kurban Dakinal Chart Iran. Agus Hanik Eamonn the Ma. Agus Hila go Chart Bias. Agus Era Gaeilge sanctions or in Iran. Kajiran Iran Arinya. Before that Eamonn the Vagankar Naradita Golrays the Chelsea Gahen. Eamonn Gilmore shouldn't be poking his nose into the affairs of other countries when there's so much going on in his own country. Iran has never done us any harm and they're not likely to either. But we were supposed to be a neutral country. Where has our neutrality gone now? Has it been ditched alongside our sovereignty? I would say a big thank you to Enda and Eamonn for doing that. Britain has a bit of squabbling going on with the Malvinas, or as the land grabbers like to call it, the Falklands. Will Eamonn and Enda also be supporting their exercises out there? Couple of Bagala Bastian saw their tema Canton saw. Wakish of Anna and Ryan's Flange, James O'Reilly. Now the quarter euro on the Helix here and saw. James Riley about the Horama, August Yale, na Dani Tirso, €8 on your coffee machine, Dawson. Nash, for play more galore, Tina was about the coffee machine saw, cannot a master folky hen. August Boyan Bagala, Jaffatura TV, and Harvahan Wire, August near the Peppery Lake, Leo, Varadkar, Nash, Dasagam, I mean, Leo, Estig, Gruagar, for the Gruagar House of West, Tamajina, She Villa Gayay, Aha, photo shoots da Leo snur the Hossencha Agus Gilman can't for do that Agus Virginia Arash Gujin Dev done household tax so climate Samuchu Kato the priorities in the Wixa right Jenison Cruise to us from the Dini at Tajanu Kudur Uber Jonah and Shaw Marion Shaon agus Teresa agus Gaeilge a Bonchapul and just in case anyone has any doubt about where their country's money is going, Michael Scanlon, departing Secretary General of the Department of Health, just got a retirement package worth €540,000. Mr. Scanlon exit of 38-year service, but received a top-up of 2 years so that he could avail of the maximum 40-year level. He will receive a lump sum of $323,385 plus severance pay of $107,000 and an annual pension of $107,000. This news comes days after a payout of $800,000 was given to retired ESB boss Padraig McManus, who was on a basic salary of $420,000. The biggest semi-state pay package this while. So thanks. Owen.
You're really improving as a public speaker, I'll tell you. We'll be well able for the Dáil by the time this campaign's over. Just a few stats. The latest stat says about 4% of the people who are supposed to register and pay for this tax has already registered and paid. And considering that this is about a third of the way through heading for the deadline, basically no one is paying or registering this tax yet. So that's very good. That's the stats we want to hear. The campaign against the household water and septic tank taxes has in the past months began to sink deep roots in the Fál Carrach area. This campaign has been active organising petitions, regular protests and a public meeting in the town here. We have also been distributing newsletters, leaflets and have been working with groups across Donegal and throughout the state in building this campaign. Local people have been hugely supportive and more than ready and willing to boycott these unjust taxes and oppose austerity policies of this government. People understand if these taxes and cuts continue, it will destroy what is left of the Irish economy. You only need to look around locally here and consider the amount of young people has left in the last couple of months in this area. Austerity is getting us nowhere. These cuts are hard to austerity and that's why they must be resisted. Yes. The Clan nearly can't pay, won't pay. Restate that the only strategy that will defeat these taxes is a boycott. So don't register and don't pay. The response to the campaign in the Clan area shows so far that there is many who support this position and even more can be persuaded to support this position. We recognise that some are more fearful of refusing to register than others because of the highlighting of the maximum fine for non-registration and the impression given that such fines are automatic. But if up to 1 million people refuse to register and pay, these taxes will be made unworkable. We say, stand together, don't register and don't pay. We won't pay to bail out bankers and speculators. The stamp taxes, austerity cuts and the bailout are the robbery of ordinary people for the benefits of the financial markets. So don't register, don't pay. Yes. I'm going to get onto my flow here. Do you want me to say a few more things? We've been asked over the last few months, it's not one of the hard questions. The one that seems to come up mostly is not the hard questions about registering and not paying, but some people have said to me, like, sure, what's €100? Sure, it's nothing. What's the problem with paying that? It doesn't make any difference. But like, people need to be clear. The €100 and the registration is to get you onto the database. The government has every intention of increasing this tax. The 2009 Commission on Taxation suggested that houses valued at $150,000 to $300,000 should be levied with a property tax of at least €563. John Fitzgerald of the ESRI has said that the new taxes should be as high as $1,300 per annum. It was including the water tax and that. Now, it's simple. It's very simple. If you don't resist this charge now, you could end up paying thousands every year. The government can increase this charge any time they like if they get you to register. We must defeat it now at the registration stage, or you will soon be paying huge volumes of tax that is going into the black hole to bail out bankers and developers. Yes. like everything, once you get going to something, it's very hard to stop, you know. But I was looking through my notes earlier on, and it was back stuff we had for the very first meeting we had here in Carrach. The funny thing is, that day we were along and we thought we were going to have to answer a lot of questions to people who were going to, you know, ask us hard questions and whatnot. What we found was people were more up to speed than we were ourselves, and people had no doubt that they were resisting these taxes. But just what I'd made up that day was that here, it was called 7 Reasons to Boycott the Household Tax. So I noticed reading through my notes to site, they're still relevant today, so I'll give them to you. Like, number 1, starting off at 100,000 or 100 euros, there's no reason why the combined taxes won't rise to 1,000 or more, considering this has been proved to be a revenue raising exercise. This is a way of making us pay for the financial crisis caused by the bankers and speculators. That was number 2. Number 3 is, if the household tax is successfully implemented, it will lead to a water tax. They've been talking about that this week even. Water will then be in line for privatisation. It has already been seen as a source of profit by private companies. Number 4, the household tax will take money out of our pockets and the hundreds and thousands of others. This can only lead to less money being spent in our local communities and further running down of local economies. You can see it all around you. This is an unjust tax. The ordinary working person will pay the same as the likes of Bono or any multimillionaire, including Michael Scanlon. Sorry, Michael, that was a joke. Number 6, this is our chance to shout stop. Working people have suffered with the recession and the cuts imposed by the government and the EU IMF. This is our chance to fight back. Almost every household in the state will be affected by these taxes. This will be a chance for ordinary citizens to have a say in shaping our futures by telling them what kind of country and society we want. The political elite and their well-off cronies have mismanaged this society for long enough. I say it's time we took back our communities and our society. Thanks very much.
This here is about communities and people. It doesn't matter a damn who you voted for in the past or who maybe your intentions are of voting in the future. Come out and support this campaign.
I'd just like to appeal to everybody here when we're here today for Colin Ward, the local man, the Fanny there is organising a protest in Fanny from 12th of July at 3 o'clock, and we're trying hard as possible to get at least 200 to 300 people to come, but mainly we would like it, everybody's welcome, but we'd really like if we get the young people to turn out for it, because it affects the young people as well as the adults, and people like myself in the 30 and 40 age bracket, 6 months time a lot of us won't be here because we'll be in Australia or elsewhere because they don't work in this country. So now is the chance to try and fight things and get things turned around, and please everybody, including all the businesses, Yard and Fanny, Creasla, would like to see your support as well and things, because if we're supporting businesses, business should be supporting us. All we ask is that you just turn up at the protest, even though if you only spare 5 minutes out of your time, please just come and show your support and make the numbers greater. And if you have something to say, please say it. I would also like to take the opportunity as well to thank a local man here in town, well, a local Fanny man, Michael Kelly, who's running the 3D magazine down here beside the DSB office, for putting on a great show this week of photos into his magazine. And thank you very much for that, Michael. It's just a pity all the rest of the business couldn't do the same and take Michael's approach and get behind things, but people like ourselves from Gary, mainly from Gary here at the moment, are taking the lead, and hopefully Fanny on the Colin Ward's protest will take the lead the same eventually, and Creasla as well get tied into it, so that we can all take a stand and just protest. We can't pay and we won't pay. Thank you.
It's 3 o'clock. So if anyone could make it, it would be great. Also, we have a meeting in the corner bar. George has been very good to us. We have a meeting in here in the corner bar on Thursday the 9th at 7 o'clock. So anyone who can't make the Saturday meeting will have an opportunity to come to a week, one meeting in here. So that's on the 9th at 7 o'clock in here in the corner bar. The way it is, if we are spending our money on taxes going to the government into the black hole, we will not have any money to spend in your local businesses. So please come out and support us.
I'd say a bit about the septic tank legislation. I'm sure everybody, well, maybe a lot of people know that there's a section in the Water Services Bill. Sorry about this. My director is telling me to move. There's a section in the Water Services Bill which is still going through. I think it's still got to go to the Shannon, and then it will go for signature from the President. It's been through up to the 4th reading, I think. But there's a section in that which allows the Environment Minister and the Environment Protection Agency to set whatever standards they like for septic tanks, and these can be completely retrospective. This isn't just standards of how well they process the water. It's actually standards in terms of construction standards, percolation areas, and that's where the massive costs could come to ordinary people who are having to put in their own water treatment plants rather than septic tanks if they haven't got the room for a percolation area. And these can cost easily 5,000 and several thousand for surveyors' costs before you can get the planning permission to put them in. So this legislation is completely unjust, and it's not backed by any sort of even a grant system to help people. On the other hand, people in urban areas get their water, the sewage waste treated for free. And yet this is a massive opportunity for the government to provide funds to give work to local people through the councils to upgrade our sewage system, rather than putting all the costs on individuals. It should be done through the council and through the government providing finance to do this, and it can also produce more work for local people. So it's very important not to register for the household tax, because we don't know whether they might even try and use the same register for the septic tank charge. So we want to keep away from any sort of register at all to make sure we defeat both of these taxes. And so support the campaign. Sorry, I've started to ramble. Support the campaign. Come to the meetings. See you on Saturday or on Thursday or next Friday on the protest, the weekly protest at noon. Thank you.
You can't avoid one, but just to mention the thing about the septic tank, why should we be registering for a septic tank when the council already knows where every septic tank in the country is? That's only another way to get you on the database. What does your €50 registration fee for? Nobody's clear about that. So the thing is, no one has the money to spend upgrading a septic tank that you know is working perfectly. The problem is, coming from Europe, is they're saying it's a Irish state's problem. They're not saying it's an individual's problem. But the Irish state is saying to us that it's an individual problem. There's a difference in that. But just in regards to, it was mentioned during the week about Irish Water setting up as a company. This is a drive to privatisation of the water service as well, as you can see. But just consider this, there's no evidence that this tax is going towards the upkeep of water infrastructure. As in, how can you say that you're upgrading a service when you're not even fixing the pipes that the water's running through? The setting up of a company called Irish Water is to collect revenue, not to reduce leakage or improve water quality. If you consider half the state's housing stock has been built since the mid-90s, yet very little water conservation has been put in place of terms, for example, rainwater harvesting or dual flush toilets. If this was about conservation, the government will be investing far more and be linked to the building regulations. For example, metering cannot possibly be about water conservation if there is no attempt to upgrade and repair leaking infrastructure. Working people and pensioners cannot afford to pay double. We are already paying for water through our taxation. Don't let me tell you you get water for nothing or you're getting it free, because you're already paying for it. But the government has made big promises in regards to water about a waiver or exemption. Remember, recent history shows that once a service is privatised, no exemption is guaranteed. Take this into consideration as well. There's water wars all over the world. Water is a vital source. In fact, water is a basic human right. to ensure that we uphold this basic human right. It must be kept out of the clutches of private companies whose thirst for profits will eventually take precedence over the needs of your family and your community. Do you think, for example, if Irish Water get their way, that when there's leakages up in Donegal, that we're going to be a priority? Of course we're not. So once again, we say don't register, don't pay. Give this government the message that they're looking for a long time. Thanks very much.
One pay!